Here are the top stories for today, July 16, 2020. The government retains the National Capital Region under general community quarantine while Cebu City eases into modified ECQ. Task Force Bangon Marawi assures the rehabilitation of Marawi City is on track despite the COVID-19 pandemic. Malacanang resolves to pursue a peaceful and diplomatic approach to resolve the West Philippine Sea issue with China. And the Department of Health calls on Filipinos to practice preventive behavior to stop the spread of COVID-19. Good day, I'm William Theo. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. After a month of being under the most restrictive enhanced community quarantine, Cebu City has eased to a less restrictive modified ECQ from July 16 to 31. President Duterte decided to downgrade the quarantine classification in Cebu City, while Metro Manila will remain under General Community Quarantine or GCQ. The president is said to initially agree with the recommendation of the University of the Philippines to revert NCR to modified ECQ, but changed his mind after Metro Manila mayors vowed to implement more proactive restrictions under GCQ. Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque warned that there is still a possibility that Metro Manila could revert to MECQ if the situation worsens. He also urged the public to help the government prove that COVID-19 cases in the country would not swell to 80,000 by July 31st, as indicated by UP researchers. Here are the new classifications of the local government units effective until July 31st. President Duterte placed the following areas under GCQ: Laguna, Cavite, Rizal, Lapu-Lapu City, Mandaue City, Ormoc City, Southern Leyte, Zamboanga City, Butuan City, Agusan del Norte, and Basilan. The cities of Talisay, Minglanilla, and Consolacion in Cebu Province will also be under GCQ. Areas under medium risk modified general community quarantine: Benguet, Baguio City, Ilocos Sur, Pangasinan, Ilocos Norte, La Union, Dagupan City, Cagayan, Isabela, Nueva Vizcaya, Bataan, Nueva Ecija, Pampanga, Bulacan, Tarlac, Zambales, Angeles City, Batangas, Quezon, Lucena City, Oriental Mindoro, Occidental Mindoro, and Puerto Princesa City. Also under medium risk MGCQ are Albay, Masbate, Camarines Norte, Camarines Sur, Catanduanes, Sorsogon, Naga City, Iloilo, Negros Occidental, Capiz, Antique, Aklan, Guimaras, Iloilo City, Bacolod City, Negros Oriental, Bohol, Cebu Province, Western Samar, Leyte, Biliran, Tacloban City, Zamboanga del Sur, Zamboanga Sibugay, Zamboanga del Norte, Misamis Occidental, Bukidnon, Lanao del Norte, Cagayan de Oro City, Iligan City, Davao Oriental, Davao del Norte, Davao del Sur, Davao de Oro, Davao City, Sultan Kudarat, Cotabato, South Cotabato, General Santos City, Lanao del Sur, and Maguindanao for BARMM. The rest of the country will remain under low-risk MGCQ until July 31st. Patients infected with COVID-19 or their families are obliged to report their conditions to prevent the further spread of the disease. Justice Secretary Menardo Guevara cited Republic Act 11332, or the Mandatory Reporting of Notifiable Diseases and Health Events of Public Health Concern Act. He said the government is also mandated to facilitate the transfer of these patients to quarantine facilities. Under the law, non-cooperation or non-reporting of the notifiable disease is punishable by 20,000 to 50,000 pesos and up to 6 months imprisonment. Barangay officials will be in charge of transporting COVID-19 patients to government quarantine facilities to prevent further spread of the disease. Guevara said the interagency task force for the management of emerging infectious diseases has not yet considered or tackled a house-to-house search for COVID-19 patients by the police. Manila launches its own drive-through COVID-19 testing center. Meanwhile, work at the Department of Agrarian Reform is suspended due to COVID-19. More on these from Rom Dulfo.
Manila Mayor Isko Moreno Dumagoso on Wednesday led the opening of Manila's drive-through COVID-19 testing center in front of the Andres Bonifacio Monument beside the City Hall. Dumagoso said the Manila Health Department will use the newly acquired COVID-19 serology machine, where testing only takes about 5 minutes and the results will be out within 24 hours. The drive-through COVID-19 testing center will be open to residents and non-residents of Manila. Meanwhile, the Philippine National Police will be putting up more quarantine centers and testing hubs as the number of infected personnel continues to rise. PNP Chief General Archie Gamboa says the quarantine facilities and testing centers will be put up in areas where there is a spike of infected personnel. The PNP is currently operating and managing 7 quarantine and testing facilities as part of a supportive healthcare system for police frontliners in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. In other news, the Department of Agrarian Reform Central Office in Quezon City suspended its operations on Tuesday after one of its officials tested positive for COVID-19. DAR Secretary John Castricion ordered an immediate closure of the DAR Central Office from July 15 to August 2 for complete disinfection of the whole DAR building. All personnel shall be working from home during this period. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Rom Dulfo.
The rehabilitation of Marawi City is on track amid the coronavirus pandemic. Task Force Bangon Marawi Chairman Secretary Eduardo Del Rosario said their timetable for the project will be completed within the term of President Duterte. Del Rosario cited the approval of the 2020 budget for the Marawi rehabilitation as a positive development towards TFBM's rehabilitation and recovery works in Marawi City. He said various infrastructure projects in Marawi City have already started, which include the Grand Padian Central Market and the Marawi City Museum. The government will also put up health centers and Islamic schools for 24 barangays that were less affected during the Marawi siege. Phivolcs says their earthquake monitoring has greatly improved since the 1990 Luzon quake. Phivolcs OIC Director Renato Solidum says their earthquake monitoring stations have already increased from 12 to 104, and they have also set up tsunami detection system. Phivolcs also continuously crafts information materials for the public to know more about these disasters, including the location of the fault and areas prone to strong shaking. Solidum urged local government units to focus on old and non-engineered buildings in their areas as they are at risk from a major earthquake. Still to come, Malacanang resolves to pursue a peaceful and diplomatic approach to resolve the West Philippine Sea issue with China. Subic Freeport reports its first 2 cases of COVID-19 infection. More on these when the PNA Newsroom continues.
Alamin kung paano ang tamang pagsusuot ng surgical mask. Una, hawakan ang mask sa strap at siguruhing natatakpan nito ang inyong bibig at ilong. Tandaan, ang may kulay na bahagi ng mask ang dapat nasa labas. Ito lamang ang tamang paraan ng pagsuot nito. Ihulma ang nose piece o maliit na metallic strip ayon sa hugis ng inyong ilong. Iwasan ang paghawak sa inyong ilong at bibig. Kung marumi na ang mask, hubarin ito gamit ang strap at itapon ito sa isang basurahan. Siguruhin ang maayos na paghuhugas ng kamay gamit ang sabon at tubig. Ang surgical mask ay dapat gamitin ng mga pasyenteng may sakit sa baga o mga taong mayroong ubo, sipon at lagnat, mga nag-aalaga sa mga may sakit, at mga healthcare at frontline workers. Maaari ring magsuot nito kung kayo ay pupunta sa matataong lugar. Basta't sama-sama at laging handa, kaya natin to! Isang paalala mula sa DOH, PCOO, KBP at ng himpilang ito. Alamin ang mga dapat gawin sa lugar ng trabaho laban sa Coronavirus Disease 2019. Ang mga kumpanya ay dapat magbigay ng face mask sa kanilang mga empleyado. Bukod dito, magbigay kaalaman din patungkol sa COVID-19. Siguraduhing malinis ang kapaligiran. Maglagay ng sabon at hand sanitizer sa mga palikuran. Siguraduhing ligtas at nalutong maigi ang mga pagkain sa kantina. Obserbahan ang kalusugan ng mga empleyado at katrabaho. Kung sakali man na mayroon silang sintomas ng coronavirus disease, gaya ng lagnat, ubot sipon at hirap sa paghinga, ay agad ipasuri sa doktor. Basta't sama-sama at laging handa, kaya natin to! Isang paalala mula sa DOH, PCOO, KBP at ng himpilang ito.
You're still watching the PNA Newsroom. The Philippines will pursue a peaceful and diplomatic approach to resolve its long-standing dispute with China. This amid a survey saying majority of Filipinos want to assert its rights in the South China Sea. According to the July 3-6 survey by SWS and commissioned by Strat-based Albert Del Rosario Institute, around 70% of Filipinos believe that the Philippine government should assert its rights over the islands in the disputed waters. Only 30% said otherwise, while 15% were undecided. Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque said Manila has to look for other ways to address the sea dispute since the arbitral ruling cannot be enforced. He also clarified that the government is not dropping the country's South China Sea arbitration victory against Beijing and that the latest plan was not meant to abandon the Philippines' historic arbitration victory against China. Meanwhile, Foreign Affairs Secretary Teodoro Locsin Jr. and his Chinese counterpart, Foreign Minister Wang Yi, said the two countries' maritime issue on the South China Sea is not the sum total of the Philippines-China bilateral relationship. The two top diplomats engaged in open, cordial, fruitful discussions as per the request of Foreign Minister Wang Yi. The DFA says both sides agreed to further strengthen the strategic cooperation between the two nations. Senator Aquilino Coco Pimentel III has formally refuted the charges against him before the Department of Justice. This stemmed from an incident in March when he went to the hospital with his wife, who was to give birth through cesarean section. The hospital said Pimentel's visit unduly exposed healthcare workers to possible infection after it was found out that he tested positive for COVID-19. In his counter-affidavit, Pimentel said the complaint against him is fatally defective as it is based principally on news reports and mere hearsay. The Makati Medical Center maintains that Pimentel breached its infection and containment protocols. Meanwhile, Albay Representative Joey Salceda said barter trade is recognized as a valid form of sale under existing laws. This after the Department of Trade and Industry said it will implement a crackdown on online barter trading, which has become prevalent during the community quarantine period. Salceda said barter is a legitimate form of trade and enforcing taxes due from barter trade may be a tedious process, especially amid the coronavirus pandemic. DTI Secretary Ramon Lopez has qualified his recent statement that online barter is illegal. In other news, House Speaker Alan Peter Cayetano asked Meralco to find ways to cushion the blow of high electricity rate, particularly for marginalized household consumers. Cayetano said Meralco should look into the option of providing at least 50% subsidies in the electric bills of its lifeline consumers or offering discounts to its customers in general. He also urged the Energy Regulatory Commission, or ERC, to be more progressive in interpreting the law in a way that promotes the public good instead of favoring a chosen few. The capital of La Union has recorded its first ever death by COVID-19. Subic Freeport also reported its first 2 cases of coronavirus infection. More on this and other news from the provinces from Janice Cabe.
A 74-year-old male from Barangay San Agustin in San Fernando City, La Union is the sixth COVID-19 confirmed case and the first fatality in the city. Mayor Alfredo Pablo Ortega said the male patient has no travel history to Metro Manila and no known contact with any infected individual. The critical zone at Barangay San Agustin was placed under heightened community quarantine within 72 hours. Ortega also appealed to the residents of the city to observe minimum public health standards to protect themselves and others. Meanwhile, the Subic Bay Metropolitan Authority has reported cases of COVID-19 infection at Subic Freeport, breaking the COVID-free status of the zone since the outbreak began in March. The first patient is a 22-year-old female who recently received a visitor from Manila, while the second is a 42-year-old male who works in Laguna and returns to Subic on weekends. Both are asymptomatic and in self-quarantine. The SBMA is doing necessary contact tracing and other safety procedures to ensure the continued safety of all. In other news, Western Visayas logs 77 new confirmed cases with one death on Wednesday, July 15. The patient from Barrio Obrero in Lapus District has no history of travel outside Iloilo. All his folks have been advised to go on home quarantine. 76 others were also found positive for the disease. The new cases raised the region's active cases to 430. In Samar, the city government of Catbalogan has cancelled this year's Manaragat Festival due to the COVID-19. Mayor Dexter Uy, in a statement on Wednesday, said the festival parade and showdown held every August 23 will be suspended in compliance with the new normal guidelines and health protocols amid the health crisis. The city government said some of its fiesta activities in August will push through in a new format. Since the outbreak in the country, Catbalogan has confirmed 21 COVID-19 cases. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Janice Cave.
5 communist rebels from the Manobo tribe surrendered to military authorities in Sultan Kudarat. The Army 7th Infantry Battalion said Wednesday the surrenderers yielded various firearms during ceremonies held in Isulan, Sultan Kudarat. The 5 were members of the New People's Army Sub-Regional Committee East Daguma Front operating in the province. 7th Infantry Battalion Commander Lieutenant Colonel Romel Valencia said the surrender of former combatants was a step closer to achieving peace, particularly in indigenous communities whose members are oftentimes duped into joining their cause. He said the military expects more NPA surrenderers because of the government's Enhanced Comprehensive Local Integration Program, or ECLIP, for rebel returnees. Meanwhile, 11 former rebels will now have the chance to start a new life after receiving almost ₱1 million worth of assistance from the ECLIP. Defense spokesperson Arsenio Andulong said each received a check worth 86,000 pesos in a ceremony at Camp Kapinpin, Tanay Rizal last July 13. Task Force Balik Loob Chair DND Undersecretary Reynaldo Mapagu reminded the former rebels to avail of the other benefits of the program like housing and medical benefits as well as livelihood skills training. He expressed hope that all active members of the NPA will avail of this opportunity for peace and return to the folds of the law. 8 of these former rebels are members of the indigenous tribes in Rizal and Quezon and will be receiving further assistance under the National Council for Indigenous Peoples. In our business news, an IT group is launching a 5-year program that targets to expand the skills of 1 million Filipinos. The Information Technology and Business Process Association of the Philippines said the program will offer near-hire training grants, upskilling vouchers, scholarships and immersions, student grants, and tertiary education subsidies. The group will also launch a Train the Trainer program, a massive open online course for teachers, as well as boot camps and teaching opportunities for industry veterans. The IBPAP is launching the pilot project this year in cooperation with the Department of Information and Communications Technology, the Development Academy of the Philippines, and its partner associations. The group eyes to upskill 1,000 full-time employees by the end of 2020. IBPAP is also partnering with TESDA for the upskilling and retooling program. By 2022, IBPAP forecasts 73% or 1.15 million of its workforce will move up to mid to high skills jobs. Up next, the Department of Health calls on Filipinos to practice preventive behavior to stop the spread of COVID-19. And the ASEAN Basketball League closes its 10th season amid the COVID-19 pandemic. The PNA Newsroom returns after these reminders.
Tandaan ang tamang paraan ng paghuhugas at paglilinis ng kamay upang makaiwas sa iba't ibang karamdaman. Basain ng tubig ang mga kamay at sabunin. Unang sabunin ang mga palad at ang likod ng mga kamay. Kuskusin na maigi ang pagitan ng mga daliri at maging ang mga kuko. Isunod ang pagitan ng mga hinlalaki at kuskusin ng paikot ang mga dulo ng mga daliri sa magkabilang palad. Banlawang mabuti ang mga kamay sa malinis na tubig at patuyuin ang mga kamay gamit ang single-use towel o air dryer. Basta't sama-sama at laging handa, kaya natin to! Isang paalala mula sa DOH, PCOO, KBP at ng himpilang ito. Pangalagaan ng sarili laban sa Coronavirus Disease 2019. Hanggat maaari, umiwas sa mataong lugar. Iwasang hawakan ang ilong at bibig, maging malinis sa katawan at ugaliin ang wastong paghuhugas ng kamay. Takpan ang ilong at bibig kung uubo o babahing. Umiwas sa mga taong nagpapakita ng sintomas ng coronavirus disease gaya ng lagnat, ubo at sipon. Magsuot ng face mask kung kinakailangan. Basta't sama-sama at laging handa. Kaya natin to! Isang paalala mula sa DOH, PCOO, KBP at ng himpilang ito.
The Department of Health calls on everyone to take part in stopping the spread of COVID-19 as Filipinos return to work amid the reopening of the economy. BIDA Solusyon is the government social and behavioral change campaign to encourage Filipinos to practice preventive behavior against COVID-19. In a virtual forum last July 10, DOH Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergere and Finance Assistant Secretary Tony Lambino discussed these methods on achieving the right economic and health balance as the country moves forward. Lambino said the government's health response and economy are equally important because of the need to help Filipinos restart and protect their lives. Meanwhile, Vergere noted that with 67% of economic activity concentrated in the National Capital Region and Calabarzon, which have a large number of COVID-19 cases, it is critical for the public to reinforce the personal protective measures espoused by the BIDA campaign. In our foreign news, several prominent Twitter accounts appear to have been hacked Wednesday, including those of musician Kanye West, tech luminary Elon Musk, and U.S. presidential contender Joe Biden. The accounts of former President Barack Obama, Amazon owner Jeff Bezos, financier Warren Buffett, and former New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg were also affected. Screen grabs from the accounts appeared to show them posting a link asking for Bitcoin donations, variously saying they are giving back to their communities or fans by doubling any donations. Twitter's official support account said the microblogging website is aware of a security incident impacting accounts on Twitter. The website says it has taken steps to fix the said issue. Philippine Sports Commission Officer in Charge Ramon Fernandez on Wednesday thanked Land Bank of the Philippines for giving his office a heads-up regarding the alleged payroll padding scheme made by one of its employees. Land Bank Assistant Vice President Marieta Cabusa was the first to discover Paul Michael Ignacio's fraudulent acts when she noticed an unusual pattern in his recent payroll transactions. According to the Land Bank, Ignacio used the names of national athletes and coaches no longer receiving allowances from the PSC and used his bank account in their stead. After uncovering the scheme, Fernandez said the PSC immediately sought the help of the National Bureau of Investigation. As instructed by President Rodrigo Duterte, Fernandez said it has been the mission of the PSC officials led by Chairman Butch Ramirez to eliminate any form of corruption in the agency. In sports, the ASEAN Basketball League has officially called off its 10th season as the COVID-19 pandemic continues to hamper Southeast and East Asian sports. The ASEAN Basketball League Board announced on Wednesday that the ABL season 2019 to 2020 will be deemed concluded as there is no safe way to complete the remaining fixtures. Now 10 seasons in existence, the ABL was supposed to use this year as a celebration of its legacy. However, with COVID-19 affecting the region, the league initially decided to postpone some games to later dates before fully postponing the season. With the league postponed in the middle part of the regular season, the ABL decided to call the season an incomplete one and that no one will be declared as the champion. Meanwhile, the ABL debunked rumors of a shutdown as the league assured that it will return for its 11th season next year. The Department of Environment and Natural Resources reminds everyone to reduce, reuse, and recycle their trash. This after more than 11 tons of mixed wastes are collected by river patrollers from various bodies of water in Central Luzon since last March. The river patrollers were tasked with the monitoring of up to 10 kilometers of water bodies, including tributaries, daily to ensure that these are kept free of solid waste. The waste collected were brought to the Metro Clark Sanitary Landfill in Capas, Tarlac for proper disposal. Cindy Pagador, Manila Bay Regional Focal Person, said the patrollers have controlled the efforts to clean and restore Manila Bay even amid the dangers being posed by COVID-19. The DENR appealed to the public to properly dispose of their waste, including face masks to prevent the spread of the deadly virus. Let's take another look at today's biggest stories. The government retains the National Capital Region under general community quarantine while Cebu City eases into modified ECQ. Task Force Bangon Marawi assures the rehabilitation of Marawi City is on track despite the COVID-19 pandemic. Malacanang resolves to pursue a peaceful and diplomatic approach to resolve the West Philippine Sea issue with China. And the Department of Health calls on Filipinos to practice preventive behavior to stop the spread of COVID-19. Thank you for watching another episode of the PNA Newsroom. To check out more news content, visit our webpage or head onto the Philippine News Agency's Facebook and Twitter accounts. For more stories about the government and how it serves Filipinos, look for these hashtags in all of our social media platforms and websites. We are shown on the pages of the PCOO and its attached agencies. Also, watch us on television on PTV4 and IBC 13. And that's your daily dose of the biggest stories that you need to know. From the PNA Newsroom, I am William Theo. Good day.